Okay, I think we are all set. I believe we are live. We are recording. Welcome, 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 everyone. This afternoon, this Sunday afternoon. I know we're starting a little late. We had some technical difficulties. Y'all know how technology is, but we are here and we are ready to go. Welcome to A Queen's Roundtable Show, which happens every second and fourth Sunday of the month. I bring on a different entrepreneur and we talk openly and honestly about the entrepreneurial journey. We talk about different obstacles that they may have overcome. And basically, obviously, we are here, or the purpose of this show is to inspire, encourage, and educate, right? So that everyone out there can win, right? I want to be successful. Lorraine, I know, you want the same thing. We want the same thing for all of the other entrepreneurs out there. So don't give up, okay? I'm your host, Jacqueline Kabay Harrison. And I am going to, so just give me a moment, ladies. I'm going to let my guest introduce herself. I'm going to look down briefly because I want to make sure everything's okay and get everything shared out, okay? All right, so go ahead and take it away and introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lorraine Brady Magee, and I am a Black woman, the movement. I am also an entrepreneur, have been for several years, married to my junior high school sweetheart, Mr. George McGee. I'm also an advocate for sex trafficking and the homeless population, a certified life coach, the host and creator of Live Nation, which will be coming back in 2020. And I'm also a woman of God who loves to serve other people.
Wow. Okay, that's a mouthful. Okay. So let me ask you, and I always ask, is just to before we kind of dive into the meat of it, let us know a little bit more about you. Like, for example, where do you live right now? Where were you born and raised? Are you from a large family? Just, those types of things. So we can kind of get a feel for who Lorraine is.
Okay, so I am currently a 4-year implant into Atlanta, Georgia. I'm originally from Eastern Long Island, New York. If anybody know where that is the far tip of New York City. So not too many people, even people in the city, ever heard of Long Island, but it exists. Okay. No, I am not a part of a extremely large family. I was born and raised in the household of me, my mother, and my 2 brothers. I've heard stories that my father has 7 other sons. I think I met one of them, but I'm not sure. So if that matters and is true, then I have 7 brothers and I'm the only girl and I'm supposed to be the baby. So I don't know how true that is, but that's the circulations that's going on. Other than that, my family, the majority of them are living in New York City, or they have started, leaving and going to other states. Unfortunately, this past week, I lost the very last one of my mother's siblings. So all of my grandmother's children are now with her, laying in rest. But other than that, like I said, it's really just me and my husband. My dad lives out here with us in Georgia. I have a few other family members in Georgia, but they're scattered all over the place. My father's side of the family is a huge family, and they're scattered all over the place. So that's basically how that all goes.
Okay. And I'm sorry if you said it, maybe I just missed it, but did you say you have children or no?
No, I don't have any children.
Okay.
God blessed me to be the mother of many, but the mother of none.
Okay. And you said, now I know you were born in Long Island, and you've been in Atlanta for how long?
4 years, going on 5 years. It'll be 5 years, February 1st.
Oh, okay. So what brought you to Atlanta? How did you end up living in Atlanta?
I am a Southerner at heart, even though I was born and raised up north. Since I was 18 and graduated high school, I've always traveled back and forth between a state in the South back to New York. But the last time I decided to leave, my mom had passed away in 2012. And the only reason why I stayed in New York was because my grandmother was still living. And so I stayed in New York to help take care of her until she passed. And she passed December 24th, 2015. And December, sorry, she died December 24th, 2014.
Okay.
And um, February 1st, 2015, I was in Georgia.
Okay.
Mhm.
Wow. You know, and not to get too, too deep too quick, but this time of year, um, a lot of people experience a lot of sadness, and I
Mhm.
know, I mean, it's very, very difficult to lose anyone, close to us, but like December 24th, wow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas will never, and New Year's will never be the same for me. And since 2007 and 12, really, it started changing with the death of my mom and my uncle, 7 weeks apart, and they died, one in May, one in June. Then um, when my grandmother passed in 2020, December 24th, 2014, 2015, January 8th, her brother died. October of 2015, another one, her sister died. And then January 2nd of this year, one of my mother's sisters died. And then, like I said, on the 6th of this month, this year, we lost my last aunt. My last aunt passed away. So it's been really hard. And yes, it does affect a lot of people,
Mhm.
especially those that are dealing with loss.
Yeah.
And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to come and talk about this, because I've suffered mental illness and not being able to cope when dealing with a family member, especially this time of year.
Mhm. Um, so to kind of segue, into tell us, I know you talked about Live Nation. So tell
Mhm.
us a little bit more about Live Nation and about this book project that you're a part of. And
Okay.
I don't know, is that your primary business? The
Now,
Okay, so tell us about that. So how did you come to being a business owner, and what projects you got going on right now?
okay. So I've always been one who was had an entrepreneur spirit. I can remember the very first thing I ever did to make money was one of my neighbors when I was about 7 years old. She used to make these planted pots from the little pebble stones that she collected from the beach. So she started paying me to collect these stones when I went to the beach. And living on Long Island, you're surrounded by beaches. You're on an island, so there's easily I was able to walk like out of my grandmother's backyard down the road, and I'm near water. Um, that's how easy it was. So that was my very first experience of making money, doing something, you know, for other people without actually being at a 9 to 5 job. Then she taught me how to make the pebble stoned plant pots. So I started making those, and by 10, I was literally selling those to my neighbors. I'll make little ones, big ones. It really didn't matter. Whichever, when I was bored or needed something to do or um, didn't want to be around other kids, that's what I was able to do.
Okay.
I'll go over to my neighbor's house and I'll sit there and we'll make pots. And then I was able to sell and, help split the profits with her.
Okay.
Then I'll say after I graduated high school, I went on my first actual MLM or whatever you want to call it, with Avon.
Okay.
I did pretty good in it, but I became my biggest customer because I started wearing makeup. So anything even though a lot of people are like, well, if you use the product, that's the best way for you to make money because you're the walking advertisement. But to me, it wasn't the best way for me to make money because if I'm spending more money than I'm making, it's not that's what we call backward hustling in New York. Um, you don't want to spend more than you're
Right.
making
Yeah.
in a business. That's a backwards hustle. So I went on to join several different businesses. My last business was a travel business and a wine business. And let me clear this up. When you hear people say it's not an MLM, but you have to build a team in order to make money, it's a multi-level marketing business. Don't let them fool you, okay? And there's nothing wrong with it, but you have to be able to build these businesses. I didn't, even though I love both of them because I love wine and I love to travel, it just wasn't for me. So I had to step back and recalculate what I wanted to do in life. So now my primary business is literally doing real estate wholesaling and becoming a professional fund finder. So I find unclaimed funds for other people.
Okay.
Um, this is the newest part of what I'm doing, but I think that it will help because a lot of people don't know that they have funds out there, and especially those who have went through a foreclosure.
Okay. Okay.
They don't know that they might have funds out there. So I try to find these funds, locate the owners, and then that's how we both make money because they get their money and then I get a finder's fee.
Okay.
So it's pretty simple. Wholesaling, I got into wholesaling because of one of my number one projects, which is I am getting ready to start. My nonprofit is actually in place, but it's not on paper yet.
Okay.
So I'm working to get that on paper. But my nonprofit is called Katie's Helping Hands.
Okay.
And I named it after my two grandmothers, both whose names are Kate. One's Catherine, but they called her Kate for short, or Pop. And then the other one is my mother's mom, whose name was Kate Reed. So I named it Katie's Helping Hands because one opened her house to those who needed shelter. The other one opened her heart to feed those who needed food. So we deal mostly with those who are homeless or living in low income housing that is struggling. And the goal of next year, 2020, is to have 10 transitional homes and possibly one purchasing an abandoned house, hotel, not a house, to open up for homeless families. And one of the reasons why I really wanted to do the transitional homes, mainly for the men, is because here in Georgia, it's very hard for a man to find shelter.
Yeah.
They usually turn them away because there's kids or women in these shelters who could become victims of some kind of sexual or physical abuse. So they will turn a man away. Unfortunately, some of those men that are being turned away are the husbands of families that is being housed in these shelters. So when you walk around Atlanta, you will see that 95% of the people who are homeless are men. Out of that 95%, about 60% is someone whose family is in a shelter.
Okay. Okay.
So bringing these families back together and giving them tools to help them to, one, learn financial literacy, learn how to manage their money, learn how to keep a job, learn how to be able to support themselves and their families without struggling and feeling that pressure that we all feel when we're trying to figure out how we're going to pay a bill, if we're going to pay rent or buy food. And giving them different opportunities where they could either become business owners or find well-paying jobs, such as if they want to go to college, we help them with their taking the test, their entry test into college, getting their GED, and helping them fill out the paperwork they need for student loans, et cetera, so that they could get in college and learn a new trade, or learn a new business, a career, whatever. We have entrepreneur programs, which we are going to be start implementing in 2020, where we're going to be having people who have different businesses come out and teach them and give them information on how to start their own business, and stuff like that. So it's not so much as getting them out of the streets and giving them a home. We're getting them off of the streets and giving them the tools they need so that they could become successful member of society.
Right.
I'm also the state leader of Women of Empowerment International, which focus on community, but we also focus on empowering other women to live their best lives. So that's one of my other projects that I am committed to. Now, you asked me about the book project. You can see the smile, right? This book has been created it was created as a book. It really was. It was created as a book project by Dr. Carolyn Steffens. Carolyn is a therapist, and she believes in the only way a person could properly receive therapy is they have to go through a healing process. One of the ways that most people heal is by writing. I went through the healing process with dealing with my mental illness by journaling into books. I have like 17 years worth of journals all over the place. Trunks and books galore of 17 years of me going through pain, anguish, and then seeing growth. And that was a healing process to me. Unfortunately, I wasn't completely healed. And I'm still not. I'm not going to say that I am, because I'm still not healed. It's still a healing process. It takes years to heal from the damage of mental illness, especially the point that I was living my life in. But Dr. Carolyn decided to bring a group of ladies together to write their story, tell their story. And in the first book, they talked about sexual abuse. They talked about being victims of domestic violence, losing all their money and having to restart. And there's so many good stories in the first book. But I'm part of the Next Level. Next Level co-authors are coming in as people who went through it and have started to achieve what it is that they were trying to achieve. So a lot of us are in business. A lot of us are teaching other people. A lot of us have classes or courses or ministries that we're working and running that has already been up. We have a platform that has already been prepared, and we're bringing our stories out to say, hey, we went through it, and you can, and we went through it and we got over it, and you can too. And we're going to give you tips on how to get there. So it's completely different than the first book where they just told their story to help someone else heal. We're telling our story, but we're also giving tips on how they could overcome the obstacles that they might be going through. But see, God has a funny way of doing things. And with Dr. Carolyn, he likes to play with her a lot. That's how I have to put it. He likes to pick with her and pick a bone with her 24 hours a day. So, I think it's good because he's always putting something into that mind of hers, a genius of a woman. So as she was working with getting us connected, God birthed into her another part of this project, and that is I am a Black man. So instead of it just being a book, it has become a movement of sorts. And what I like about it is how she stresses to us unity. Unity as women, unity as a community, unity as Black people in general. And that's what I love about being a part of this project. And to be honest with you, since I've joined this project, I've learned so much about myself because writing my story, I had to go back and revisit a lot of stuff that I went through. So it brought back tears, it brought back fears, it brought back pain, hate, anger, everything you could think that you went through and that you got over when you're writing your story, it comes back to you. But it also taught me that I'm stronger than what I used to be. So I'm able to overcome and deal with different things. Every day I'm seeing something different about me because I'm able to go back and read what I wrote in this book. And stuff. So I'm just looking forward to that launch in 2020.
Excellent, excellent. I'm sorry, I got a message and then my whole little document went poof. So let's use that to segue into talking about, because I always ask women to talk about their why behind their business. And I obviously, you kind of touched on some different obstacles that you may have had, but so kind of answer both of those because I know they're very intertwined. Talk to us a little bit about your why you do what you do, and what sorts of obstacles, if you will, have you overcome, or have you been able to, I guess, learn how to effectively address so that you can continue to move forward, personally as well as professionally.
Okay, so my why of doing what I do is because I am purposed to help other people and to serve other people. I don't feel happy if I'm not helping somebody else. I really don't. I feel as if I am not giving my all as commanded to serve other people. So I definitely follow what God tell us to do, and that's basically to serve and love and show love to our fellow man and woman, especially those who are without. So, like the fatherless child, the widower, the disabled, the lame. These are people that I love to serve and I love to help. So in order for me to be able to get over that obstacle of and be able to help other people, I had to first figure out who I was and how I was going to be able to move forward from that day. From that day when I learned out that, this was a strong passion of mine. Like I said, I tried other businesses, I tried other things, but it wasn't really me helping other people because what I was doing was chasing paper. And it's not a bad thing to want so much out of life and to want more money and to increase and everything. But if you're not serving the will of God and obeying his commands, then really you're just living in a world of want, and not serving like we're supposed to. So I had to figure out which was more important to me. Was it more important for me to serve him? And one of the things that I love is seek but first the kingdom of God, and all other things will come upon thee. I truly believe in that because if I'm not seeking his kingdom and his righteousness, then anything else that I'm asking for to me, and this is just my opinion, is in vain. And it is meaningless. Okay. And that's just like I said, that's just my opinion. I could literally be struggling myself, but I feel so good when I give to someone else who is struggling. And I think that's because I grew up around that. My grandmother embedded in me just by her actions, not so much her words, that you will be happier in life when you're serving others. And because she did that, and I realized, like I look back now, my grandmother didn't work. She didn't work. Um, she worked to build her house. She did that. But after she built her house, my grandmother didn't work. She didn't have a job. My grandmother was considered legally disabled. My grandmother's only income was my grandfather's pension. Okay? But my grandmother never went without anything. Out of all those years that her house from 71 until 2016, never once did the lights get cut off in her house. Never once did she not have food in her house. Never once did she have to worry about a mortgage being late. She actually paid her house off 10 years before it was actually due to be paid off. And stuff, because she was blessing other people. God was continuously blessing her. And she did it without fault. Like, people was asking her, why would you open your house to these strangers? You don't know these people. You just letting people. And she never once listened to what other people were saying. I actually did a post today when I said I was speaking to other people in conversations, and this is what I learned about myself. This is what I'm no longer going to do. And this is why I'm not going to do it, because I learned how to do it differently. And one of the things on that list was me worry about what other people was thinking about me, and the fear and the spirit of rejection. I didn't want to be rejected by people that I thought were my friends and family and those who love me and care for me. I was scared that if I moved forward to doing what I'm doing now, that I will be judged by these people that I was trying to look up to. But then I realized the only person who could truly judge me is Jehovah God. Nobody else could do that. So that's why I'm able to overcome obstacles. But it really fell deep into my spirit last night as I was praying and I laid down that, why are you so worried about these people and what they're going to think about you? You have to move on. You have to move on. Move past that, because I'm the only one that's going to judge you. And I'm the only one that's going to supply you what you need. So you have to move past all of that thinking of what somebody else is going to say. So one of the things I would truly tell people, don't worry about what other people have to say or what other people think. If you are passionate enough about something, believe in yourself, believe in your passion, and believe in God, and it will happen.
So I'm just looking at the time, and I want to definitely make sure that, because there's still a couple of the questions I wanted to ask you, but let me just kind of give a quick little overview, and then you could tell me how you want to make it flow.
Okay.
Because I know we were so behind schedule today. So, ladies, her topic is depression and suicide, how it affects everyone in your life. Because I definitely want you to have enough time to talk about that. And the other questions that I usually ask, and you can either maybe answer them at the end, or I don't know if you want to answer them, now before you get into your topic. It's up to you. But I always like to say, how do you practice good self-care? And what advice, and I think you already answered this, what advice would you give to a younger version of yourself? I think you probably just answered that, but if there's anything else you want to add to that. But so those, like I said, those couple of questions, I always like to make sure that those are addressed, and then and then your topic. So you can do it in whatever order you want to.
Okay.
I don't want you to feel rushed. So take it away.
Okay, so self-care. Whew, that's a hard one.
Yeah, I know.
Especially when you're married. You want to, of course, you want to take care of yourself. Of course, you want to make sure you're healthy and that your hygiene is good and that you look good and you're feeling good. But sometimes it can be very difficult, especially when you have other things going on. I literally had to step back from a lot of projects that I was doing so that I will have time to go to sleep and get some rest and properly eat and still maintain a relationship with my husband, take care of my dad. So you have to decide what's important. What's more important to you in your life? What is it that's going to make you happy and keep you healthy? So, my number one thing is my family. Besides God, my family is my number one thing. When I see that something irritates my husband, I try to either fix it or I drop it. Um, because he is the king of the castle, and my whole strategy, you know how they say a happy wife, happy life. Well, I believe that if the man isn't happy, the woman's never going to be happy. And the reason why I say that is because it's going to cause so much distinction and discomfort within the home, with you arguing and stressing, that no one's going to be happy. So why not compromise some things? I'm at home and he works 12-hour days, 6 days a week. So if he says, I want to spend some time with my wife, everything gets dropped, you know? Um, self Learning to eat differently. I have to learn to eat differently because I did put on some weight, and in the process of working that off and changing my diet and stuff. But my mentality is important. You want to make sure that regardless of what you're going through, you have a peace of mind. I don't care if you're overweight. I don't care if you're not working. I don't, whatever it is. If you do not have a peace of mind, you're gonna struggle. You're gonna struggle with something, and that leads into the mental health issue, because a lot of people will push off stress as not being a mental illness. And if you actually look at it, our community, African American, they die mostly of heart attacks or strokes. Heart attacks and strokes is, they link it to high blood pressure, they link it to smoking, they link it to not eating properly, they link it to everything, but they forgot the main thing that causes this, and that is your mental state. When you're stressed out, stress not only affects you mentally, spiritually, but it also affects you physically. It really does. And you have to learn how to find that happy space. Like I find my happy space now. I didn't 15 years ago, but now I force myself to find that happy place. No matter what I'm going through or what other people think. And sometimes with my husband too, I have to be like, you know what? I'm gonna step back and I'm gonna find my happy space. And my happy space is for me to go somewhere, grab my computer, read a book, listen to a book, do a puzzle, but I have the door closed and I'm in my happy space. Because sometimes you have to take that step back. You have to breathe. I will go to bed early sometimes. Sometimes I will get up earlier than other people. My husband gets off at 3 o'clock. Sometimes I won't go to bed. I won't go to sleep. While everyone's sleeping in the house, I am getting that mentality that and relieving that stress that I have or that I've been going through and stuff. And that's how I'm able to find my mental place now. But that wasn't how it was years ago. I didn't know how to deal with my mental illness, which we could discuss now. is there anything that you want to know, or you want me to just talk about it?
I want you to talk about, the importance of it, and just trying to break some of those stigmas, because within the African American community, a lot of times we don't want to talk about it, or we want to act as if it doesn't exist or downplay it. So I want you to be able to provide like a little bit of education, kind of intertwine it with some of your own personal experiences, so that hopefully other people can, learn from this, and whether recognize it in themselves, or maybe their sister, their wife, their daughters.
Right. So, okay, with mental illness, they say some parts of mental illness is inherited, but the majority of it happens from some trauma that someone goes through. Okay, and it don't have to be sexual abuse, physical abuse. It could be the loss of the loss of a loved one. It could be a loss of a job, failure in something, school activity, being bullied. Anything could cause you to start going through certain things, mental, that will affect your mental health. One of the things that I have learned in the years when I really, really suffered it was that it wasn't a common topic within the household. We didn't talk about the people that was ill back then. It was brushed off, or they're going through something. Like, literally, I had people tell me, oh, it's just her menstrual. No, no, it's not. But that was, it's brushed off, it's brushed underneath the rug. And I think that it's very important that we learn how to recognize some of the symptoms of those people who might, in our family, might be going through something. One of the main symptoms, or something that you can legally see, is their actions. If someone has changed a habit and you're saying to them, oh, that's not like that person, you need to start paying attention and asking questions. Ask that person what's going on with them. Find out why that habit has changed. I was a goody two shoes. I wouldn't do nothing wrong. Nothing.
Okay.
And all of a sudden I'm doing drugs. Okay. Just one day, out of the blue, from a church girl to a cokehead.
Right. I mean to laugh, but the way you phrased it.
I mean, but that's how it was.
Okay.
Literally, let me tell you, I used to say, when I first started talking about my drug habit, okay, I used to say I was Electrolux. Electrolux, because my nose was big. But I used to say I could snort up Peru. Because back then, Peru was one of the major suppliers of the cocaine out here. So I used to say I could snort up Peru. And people used to laugh at me and say, well, why would you say that? Because this is how my day, this was a day in my life. I get up, I didn't pray, didn't wash face, didn't brush teeth. I grab my dollar and my straw.
Okay.
That's how I started my day off. Before my feet hit the floor, I have snorted about 4 lines of coke. Okay. I get up, I go take a shower, I brush my teeth, I do my hair, I put my makeup on, I get dressed. Before I walk out the house, I snort 4 more lines of coke, grab me a cup of coffee, I'm going. Mind you, I'm high now, but I'm in my car. Okay. And I'm driving. I get to my job, nursing home work. Yes, I took care of the elderly. Okay. Before I get out my car, in the parking lot at my job, I snort 4 lines of coke. Do you think I left my coke in my car when I went into that building? No, ma'am.
No,
ma'am.
Okay.
I walked in that building, I was getting high.
Okay.
I finish taking care of my patients on my lunch break, I'm getting high.
Okay.
Before I go home, I'm getting high. I will take a shower at my job so I could go to the club or the bar.
Okay.
I sit there, I drink, I buy more Coke, I get high, I go home, I get high, I force myself to sleep, I get up 2-3 hours later, and I start the routine all over again. Do you think that's normal behavior? Not even for a drug addict.
Okay.
Okay? Not most drug addicts acted that way 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They took time to breathe. I didn't. And the reason why I didn't take time to breathe was because I had to get high to eliminate the voices that was in my head.
Okay.
Okay? So it wasn't that I just started getting high. There was something that was causing me to want to eliminate what was going on in my head. I was hearing voices 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
You know what? I just, you know, I'm a licensed clinical social worker as well. You know, so I've heard people say this over and over again, but I'll be honest with you, and I'm pretty sure, you know, if unless you've actually gone through it, like I can't even begin to imagine how that would feel. I can't even, you know, I can't even wrap my brain around it.
Okay, so imagine that you're stuck in a television.
Wait a minute, Lorraine, I can't. Wait a minute, did you go out? Say something else, because you, for a minute, I couldn't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can now.
I said, imagine that you're in a television that cannot be turned off.
Okay.
And constantly something is playing and it's loud and you can't turn it off. You can't mute it. You can't turn the channel. You can't get out of the television. It's just constantly going on and on and on. And when I first was diagnosed, I was diagnosed with an overactive mind.
Okay.
So it wasn't that I was diagnosed with schizophrenia. It wasn't that I was diagnosed with anything else. They just said that my mind was just overactive. But then the voices started getting angry.
Okay.
And stuff. But like I said, I just couldn't turn it off. I couldn't turn it off. It was just going. It was just coming at me like balls, like dodgeball, like somebody was hurling balls at me, and the voices was getting louder, angrier and angrier. And the only way I was able to shut it down was by getting high.
Okay.
And then the voices got immune to the drugs.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that. Okay.
The voices got immune to the drugs where it was at the point now I'm addicted to the drugs, but it's not stopping the voices. And because I tried to stop the voices by doing something else, self-medicating myself, they got angry.
Okay.
And when they got angry, they started telling me to do evil, mean things, not only to myself, but to other people. And it left me in a prison in my head for more than 15 years.
Now, when all of that was happening and going on, who were you confiding in anyone at that time?
I wasn't talking to no one about it because, like I said, in my family, you didn't talk about your mental illness.
Okay.
There was things that you couldn't talk about in my family and things that you couldn't say. So I didn't talk to anybody about the things that I was going through. However, I did it wasn't so many people that I had to confide in because people started hearing and seeing what I was going through. Okay. They started recognizing that there's something different, something strange. The one person who first noticed that something was really wrong with me was my mother. And at the time that my mother noticed that something mentally was wrong with me, my mother was also an active drug addict.
Okay.
So I was able to brush it off as, oh, she's just crazy. She high.
Okay.
Like, that's what I will tell other people when my mother would say, there's something wrong with her. Seriously wrong with her. Do y'all listen to some of the things that come out of her mouth? And stuff. So the first time that I literally was able to sit down and really, really talk to somebody was when my grandmother sat me down and told me how she think I inherited it from her mother, my great grandmother, because she was hospitalized for 3 years,
Okay.
with schizophrenic and bipolar. And back in those days, I think my grandmother was 11 or 12 when her mother went into a facility. And my grandma was born in 1930. So, like 1941, back in those days, you really didn't discuss mental health. And there was no medication. You was just locked up in a loony bin, and they did all types of experiments on you. And, but that's when my grandmother told me, I really want you to seek help.
Okay.
And that's how it started. That's how my journey to healing started.
Okay.
I was able to talk to my grandmother, and she helped me to realize that there was really something wrong with me that I needed to change.
Okay.
And that's how it happened.
And that was how many years ago? 15
15.
about. Okay. Wow. So your topic is depression and suicide, and how it impacts others around you, right?
Right.
Okay.
I did try to commit suicide twice.
Okay.
And when I say how it impacts other people, when you're going through depression and you're, say, like with me and my husband, it took him a minute to learn how to deal with me,
Okay.
how to understand what I was going through. And I've been with this man on and off since 1984. So if don't nobody know me, my husband knows me. Okay. But there was times where my husband couldn't deal with what I was going through. He couldn't deal with the crying. He couldn't deal with the anger. He couldn't deal with me snapping like at the drop of a pin, a hat. My mood swings was crazy, like a flick of a switch, and I was a completely different person. Literally, my husband was like, you have 21 different personalities, because that's how much I was changing who I was.
Okay.
And my attitude and everything would change. One day I was so lovey-dovey and crying, and the next minute I'm bawling my tears out and I'm frantic, and then the next minute I'm angry, I'm hating the world, I want to kill people, I'm seeing blood, and then I become demonic, and it was just, it really had an effect on him, because I literally lost him time and time again because of my behavior.
Okay.
And then I became needy, clingy. That pushes people away because they don't understand. They don't understand what you're going through. So depression definitely affects those around you. And then the suicide part made me realize if I would have killed myself, how many people it would have really affected. A lot of people think that when they commit suicide, that they're hurting no one but themselves, and that they're ending what everybody else is thinking, because they think that most people don't notice that they're around anyway, or they don't want to be around them. That's so not true. That is the biggest myth there is. People who truly love you will realize that you're not around. And that will hurt them, and that could cause them to eventually go through some type of depression. We really need to reach out to our family members and friends who's going through depression, because you never know what they're thinking in their head. You never know when it's going to be that day that they're going to end their life or try to end their life. And you never know what the end result of someone taking their life is going to be for the rest of the family members. So we have to be able to speak about it, talk about it, and then reach out to those ones. Like I said, the main tip or the main thing you can recognize in someone who's dealing with mental illness is their behavior.
Okay.
When that behavior starts to change, if it's an outgoing person, then all of a sudden they want to be left alone.
Mm-hmm.
If it's somebody who is always doing something and then you see that they're not interested in something. If it's someone who's never smoked or drunk or anything, and all of a sudden they're drinking and smoking and doing drugs. If it's someone who never went out and all of a sudden they're going out. If it's somebody who is so into their family and then all of a sudden they're distancing themselves, that's an issue.
So like a major change in one's behavior, one's personality.
Yes, and it don't even have to be major. If you really truly love somebody and you know that person like the back of your hand, it could be the slightest little thing.
Okay.
And you will see something. And it might not be that they're really going through a depression. Maybe they just feeling a little down that day. And that's okay. But it's better to know than to not know.
Right. Yep.
You have to be able to see those signs, look for those signs in the people that you really love. If your coworker is one of those people who is always helping somebody out and they're always getting the job done and they work good on, and then all of a sudden they're missing work, they're not helping somebody else, they're not completing assignments on time.
Okay.
Ask them, is they okay?
Oh, excuse me.
See what's wrong with them.
Okay.
See if it's something that you could do to help them. Lend a helping hand. Reach out to them. And especially this time of year, if you have a family member or friend that you know is going through depression or any type of mental illness, please, I beg you, reach out to them.
And like you said, especially around this time of year. And then too, with that, what do they call that? I know it's 3 words, but it's like affective seasonal disorder, maybe.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like when because it gets darker, we spend so much time, a lot of people experience depression because of that.
Because most people in the United States do not experience any type of depression all year until this time of year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because they're lonely and they feel it.
Mm-hmm.
And it darkens inside of them. This loneliness comes, like, it overtakes them. There's no light. There's nothing there. And they can't pull it. So you have to make sure that you're reaching out to them.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's 4:31, and I know you said you had something else to do.
I have to take my husband to work.
Okay, so go ahead and just let us know where they can find you if they want to reach out, to you.
All right. So you can find me here on Facebook, Lorraine Magee, on my personal Facebook page. Or you could come onto my business page, which I have 2, which is Lorraine Brady Magee, is one business page. Sistas Serving Sistas is another business page. Sistas Serving Sistas Facebook group, or Women of Empowerment International Facebook group. So you will be able to find me in any of those spaces on Facebook. If you want to reach out to me on Instagram, it's Magee Love 1226. If you want to find me on Twitter, it is Lorraine Magee. Lorraine Magee on Twitter. And if you want to find me on LinkedIn, it is Lorraine Brady Magee.
Okay, so usually I'll put them in, but because we're getting ready to end
now,
it's a lot. So just figure out which ones you want to put in, and when you get a second, just go back in and add them, and then I'll make sure that I add it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So thank you, Lorraine.
And if you want to email me, any questions, you can email me at Lorraine, Lorriane, Magee, sorry, Magee 1971 at gmail.com. I will also put that in the comments as soon as I come back.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're
And
welcome.
enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
You too. Have a blessed day. Thank you.
All right. Bye, Lorraine.
Bye.
So, everybody, we're kind of rushing off here, but you have joined us for A Queen's Roundtable show, which happens every second and fourth Sunday of the month at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. A different entrepreneur joins me, and we talk openly and honestly about that whole entrepreneurial journey, right? Because it's not for the faint-hearted. And each expert that I bring on also shares good tools and techniques to help you be successful personally as well as professionally. So thank you again for joining us, and the rest of you have a wonderful afternoon. And until next time, I'm Jacqueline Kabay Harrison, your host for A Queen's Roundtable Show. Okay, talk to you soon. Bye, ladies.